Welcome to Mind Body Monday, and thank you all for joining me. Today's topic is the gut everything connection, and this may hold some surprises for even the most health aware of you. I'm going to touch on 6 different body systems that are absolutely essential for thriving in body, mind, and soul. And let's jump straight in. Recently, a 55-year-old patient consulted with me, and I see this pattern a lot. She's complaining of, in her words, total exhaustion, and obviously going through her blood tests, I saw that everything was normal. In fact, she told me she was at wit's end. She felt quite despondent, a little bit despairing, because her GP had told her, everything's normal. And there weren't any proactive measures that he could offer her. So using the functional medicine model, which I've spoken much about in previous Mind Body Mondays, I want to share with you one approach. And there are many approaches that can be used in functional and integrated medicine to help such a person. In fact, I'd say a fair portion of my patients come to see me feeling awful, but yet having normal blood tests. So on the one hand, this is comforting because there aren't any obvious nasties lurking around. On the other hand, it's very disconcerting because what exactly are you supposed to do? If you're checking the sleep box and you're checking your lifestyle box of exercise and eating healthy, and you're managing your stress, but you're just feeling exhausted, or you have some other symptom, like what are you supposed to do really? And this is a big chunk. It's about 1/3 of my patient population who come to see me with a nondescript unwellness, normal blood tests. And as I said, this could leave people feeling quite despondent and at a loss in terms of what to do. In today's Mind Body Monday, it's less practical, although there will be at the end a synopsis of some small practical takeaways. But in this Mind Body Monday, I really want to zoom out to sort of a 50,000-foot view and give you an insight from a functional medicine perspective, how important having great gut health is. And I just want to clarify something right from the get-go. Having a healthy gut does not mean not having any digestive problems. It doesn't mean there isn't bloating. It doesn't mean you've got a normal stool. It doesn't mean there's no heartburn. Having a healthy gut means a healthy microbiome, which is a whole different discussion. And we're going to touch on some of that today. So a person could be free of heartburn, free of digestive gripes, but yet have a dysfunctional microbiome or a dysfunctional microbiome in the making. So let's touch on some of this today. So I'm going to, which I did with this patient, use this pathway as an inroad to help her return her energies back to where they should be so she could feel functional, alert, alive, and vibrant. So I want to share with you the 6 main gut connections. Now, as we speak, there's research done in all parts of the world, in universities, in labs, expanding these, but these are just the toe dip of the main ones to get started. So I'm going to mention these 6, and then I'm going to go into each one of them mostly with some key takeaways or insights about them. And I will summarize at the end with possible things you can do. So the first is called the gut-brain axis. The second is the gut-immune axis. The third is the gut-skin axis. That's AXIS. And then the gut-metabolic axis, and this is particularly important for those who are working to have a streamlined metabolism and balance their weight. There's the gut-sleep axis, which is pretty important for those who want to deepen in their sleep quality and wake up feeling refreshed. And then lastly, there's the gut hormone axis, which covers on so many hormonal issues, specifically female issues as well, but that does affect males as well. So let me just begin with a general description of what it is I'm talking about. What do I mean by a gut axis? What this essentially means in the simplest terms is two-way traffic, is two-way communication between our gut microbiome, those are the organisms in our gut, and other body systems. It's almost like you're talking with your friend on the phone. There's a connection between the two of you. What you say, she responds to. What she says, you respond to, be it verbal, be it non-verbal, etc. There's a relationship, there's a connection. And that's exactly what happens between our microbiome in our gut and all these other key systems in our body. I like to see it a little bit like a mother who's pregnant with a baby in her tummy, so to speak. That everything she experiences, her thoughts, her feelings, the food she eats, the food she smells, the music she listens to, her sleep, everything affects the baby's nervous system, the baby's brain development, the baby's health. And so too, the baby's health affects the mother as well. This two-way traffic, this two-way dialogue, connection exists. So if you're not pregnant or if you don't have a baby in your tummy, either way, we do, in a metaphoric sense, all have a baby in our tummy. And that is our gut microbiome. That is everything we do affects our microbiome, and our microbiome affects everything we do and every system in our body. And I've just mentioned the 6 highlights. So let's kick off with the gut-brain axis, because this one is more studied, more known, and for me, it's such an exciting topic. Most of you have probably heard about the gut as the second brain, and this occurs because of the something called the ENS, which stands for the enteric nervous system, which is more than 100 million nerve cells in our gut that dialogue with our brain. And it's from our esophagus all the way to the other end of these nerve cells dialoguing with our brain. And so any disruption in the gut will affect our mind, our brain, our cognitive function. In fact, recently, there was fascinating research about cognition, Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's, dementia, as it relates to the gut microbiome. And in a previous Mind Body Monday, I went into this in depth. If you just look on my YouTube channel and type in dementia and gut health, you will come across that previous video, going into a relatively deep dive in terms of gut health and nurturing and cultivating a wonderful, long-term, happy, healthy brain. So there was a fascinating study in PubMed, actually called the SMILES trial, where it was a landmark study showing how supporting our gut through the Mediterranean diet, which was rich in plant-based foods, could help to manage depression. And the researchers concluded that those who followed a wholesome, well-managed Mediterranean diet, which I call ND, nutrient-dense eating, along with small amounts of fish or eggs and lean meat and cultured dairy products, had significant improvement in their mental health. In fact, after 12 weeks, over 30% of the group had total remission from their depression. This was not with any medication whatsoever. This is not with working with sleep. This is not working with exercise, just changing their diet, which impacts the microbiome. Because remember, over 90% of serotonin and over 50% of dopamine is not made in the brain. It's made in our gut. These are two key neurotransmitters for mental health, for sleep regulation, for appetite regulation, for motivation, for mood, for happiness. So having a happy gut actually sets the brain up for a happier experience of life when you have the right perception and filters to use all those wonderful neurotransmitters floating around your brain in the right way. That was called the gut-brain axis from a 50,000-foot view. Let's toe dip into what I'm going to call the gut-immune axis. It's important to recognize that over 70% of our immune system actually is based in our gut. Our gut microbiome actually teaches our immune system who's friend and who's foe. And there was some interesting research done at King's College with over 600,000 participants who showed that once again, when people ate a plant-based, nutrient-dense eating diet with appropriate fermented foods thrown in as well, there was a 40% decrease in becoming sick with COVID, and that was during that time. So the gut immune, it's not just to boost your immune system, yes, to take all the recommended vitamins and minerals to help your immune system, vitamin C's, the zinc, the D's, all those things we've discussed before. And at the same time, to take advantage of the gut immune axis and work to bring a greater number and diversity of friendly bacteria into the gut, and this way boost your immune system significantly, because remember, over 70% of your immune system is gut-based. Let's move to look at a less studied but equally important gut connection, and that's called the gut-skin axis. In the past, I've worked a lot with teenagers and young women, a few men as well, with teenage acne or adult onset acne. And one of the most important strategies I've taken is to clean up their diet, clean up their eating, and repopulate their gut with friendly bacteria specifically. I know myself of the gut skin axis because I have a penchant, so to speak, for a good quality dark chocolate, 90 or 95%. And some of these chocolates have a high level of cocoa fat. And I find within 24 hours of eating that delicious dark chocolate, that by the way is low in sugar or no sugar, I'd have some sort of small skin outbreak. So it's something that I need to enjoy on the weekends or take it easy. So there's a strong connection in research between our hormonal system and the gut and the skin. So it's very important in order to have a glowing, vibrant skin, to not only treat the skin superficially with all sorts of creams, etc., but at the same time to modify your gut with the right sorts of foods and the right sort of probiotics, etc. And this will impact your skin and give you the radiance you are possibly looking for. And this gut-skin axis is actually mediated through the gut immune axis as well. Let's explore another very important gut connection. And this is called the gut hormone axis. Now, this is particularly important for women across the age spectrum. There was an interesting article in a publication called Maturitas, all about thriving in the elder years. And they proposed this following concept of the estrogen gut microbiome axis. So I'm just calling it the gut hormone axis. And what they discovered was that the bacteria in the gut actually regulates estrogen through a specific enzyme that breaks estrogen down into its active forms. So what this means is when there's gut dysbiosis, which is an imbalance in the gut between the good bacteria and the bad bacteria, and a low diversity, meaning not enough of an abundance of different kinds of bacteria, then which often can accompany symptoms like bloating or heartburn or cramping or diarrhea, etc. when this dysbiosis exists, then the ability for the microbiome to break down estrogen into its active forms is significantly impaired. And that means there's less available estrogen in the blood. And if there's less estrogen in the blood, in certain situations, this could contribute to the development of many, many disorders. It could make it harder for a woman particularly to lose weight, so it impacts obesity. There's a condition called metabolic syndrome. It can play into that. There's a condition called PCO, polycystic ovary syndrome, which is also related to an estrogen deficiency. It could impact fertility, and even research has shown it can in fact impact cardiovascular disease as well. And they concluded also that this estrogen deficiency can affect cognitive function. So it's a very, very broad impact that the gut hormone axis has across the whole fertility range, the metabolic area, cardiovascular function, and brain function. So it's particularly important then to look at strategies to really, really improve the gut, specifically if there are any hormonal imbalances. Okay, let's dive into one of my favorites, and this is the gut sleep axis. And I gave a previous Mind Body Monday talk, so you can once again look at my YouTube channel and type in gut and sleep. And I took a deep dive, hopefully not putting anybody to sleep, in terms of the impact that the gut bacteria have on our circadian rhythms and our sleep cycle. And I shared there, and I want to just repeat it here because for me it's absolutely exciting. There's a PubMed research that analyzed the sample of participants' gut bacteria over a 30-day period, and then analyzed their sleep patterns. So they just looked at bacteria, gut bacteria, and their sleep. They were not interested in any other factor. And they found a direct correlation between the microbial diversity, that means the number of different organisms in the gut, and this correlated to longer sleeping times and deeper, better quality sleep, all mediated through having more abundant gut bacteria. They also pointed out specific types of bacteria that were helpful to induce these deeper sleep states, and then which kinds of bacteria contributed to poor sleep. In fact, some of my patients who suffer from sleep issues, insomnia, not being able to go back to sleep, or waking up often through the night, one of my interventions includes a solid, potent probiotic taken before bedtime. And I base my intervention a lot on this kind of research and others. Bottom line is your gut bacteria affects the quality of your sleep significantly. So let me do a quick summary and perhaps a key takeaway for you. So in today's session, we explored 6 major gut connections in the body. And this is the dialogue between our microbiome, our gut, and all these systems in our body. And I mentioned that having a healthy gut does not only mean you don't have any gut symptoms, be it heartburn or gas or bloating or diarrhea or constipation or whatever it happens to be. A person can have a healthy seeming gut, but at the same time, underlying, if the microbiome is not sorted, it will impact their function and vitality on all those different levels as well. So a key takeaway from today is to ensure that cultivating a diverse microbiome is an important part of your daily, weekly, or monthly health regime. And it could be as simple as introducing more friendly bacteria. That could be in the form of a good quality probiotic capsule. or powder if you can't swallow capsules. And my favorite, though, is to culture my own vegetables. And at this time of recording this video, I've got over 10 kilograms of sauerkraut fermenting away in a keg with freshly grated ginger, and that's fermenting away for at least 6 weeks. And then I add 2 or even 3 tablespoons 2 to 3 times a day on whatever I eat. I even put it in a tablespoon in my smoothies because I understand how important this is. So if you're going to start to introduce friendly bacteria into your diet, I suggest you do it the slow, steady way. Don't go from 0 to 100. Just start with 1 capsule, once a day, and gradually increase as you go along. And it's very common to have some sort of side effects, either of increased gas or bloating or discomfort, as the microbiome reorganizes itself based on the introduction of friendly bacteria. So the best thing is to find a qualified, functional, and integrated medicine practitioner who can guide you through the right way, the right probiotics, in the right way for your system. Once again, thank you all for joining me on Mind Body Monday. And just remember, Mind Body Monday is where self-care is the heart of healthcare. All you need to do is to take one small step in the direction of health and healing in mind, body, and soul. I'll see you next week.